Hey, you there. Thank you for watching, and welcome to Forged Alliance Forever. Today, I have a 3v3 custom match here on the most amazing Neuroxis map generator. So let's go ahead and introduce our teams and our players, starting with Team 1 in the north, ending with Team 2 in the south. Starting off with Team 1's westernmost player in Imperial Gray, it is Trith going first lane as an Aeon. He is a 2100. 2 ways east in Amethyst Purple is the Siren player. Vrayla going first land. They are also a 2100, and again, they're going first lane in Amethyst Purple as a Cybran. And to his west, we have in Orange Color Orange is the Wreck going first lane as a Cybran as well. He is a 2200, the highest rated player on Team 2. So for Team 1 side of the map, they have 2 Cybrans and an Aeon, which means Team 1 lacks UEF and Seraphim technology. Starting off with Team 2 southeasternmost player, and working west is Resistance going first line secondary as a UEF in Chevy Crimson. He is a 2000 rated. To his west in Ruby Red is the Aeon player, fully going first land. He is a 2400, the highest rated player on Team 2 and in the game overall. And last but not least here for Team 2 is Blast Shield going first land secondary as an Aeon as well. He is a 2100 in Pac-Man Yellow. And again, he is going Aeon. Over Team 2 side of the map, they have 2 Aeon and 1 UEF, which means they lack Cybran and Seraphim technology, which means for the entire game there are no Seraphim players. Apologies to those who who are late but love to make grand entrances. Hopefully you will enjoy the game nonetheless as I screw up your consolation message shout out about not being in the game. And for 6 players on the map, let's take a look at the reclaim here. Overall, players only have 5,000 mass to scoop up, but divided between 6 players, it's about 800 mass per player. So it's not a terrible amount. It's not a great amount, but it's something for our players to chew on. Taking a look at Team 1 side of the map, they have 1 quad mechs, 2 quad mechs is here in the northeast, and 2 trimex positions over here, 1 on an upper plateau, and 1 over here in the west. If you haven't noticed already, this game is populated by only 2,000 plus rated players, meaning the average of which is over 2,100. I think it's like 2,166, I think is the average of the players in this game. Very, very, very high rated, especially, of course, when we're getting into the 24s, 22s. Very, very high rated. I expect to see a high level play in this game. Obviously, I sped it up just a little bit to get through the intros and get through the introduction of everybody. Because very similar to a 3v3 ladder, it takes a couple minutes for players to move out, get mexes upgraded, built, all that stuff. Factories, units pumped out. And we do see that units already on the plateau here for Rayla in the middle. And also units up here for Foley. It looks like he went for distance build, possibly transport. Most likely distance, but again, either way works. It does look like engineers moving into the west for a little bit of reclaim, and then for a mechs as well. But as I was saying, again, very high rated players in this game. Expect to see a lot of good action here, if I can speak properly, in this game. There is a couple pawns in this game that I expect to see Navy featured. Definitely not, I'd say super prominent, but enough to make a difference here. I mean, you could see cruisers from Team 1 not really going to have those missiles on board. Team 2 will have that advantage, but only for resistance. So maybe he's going to try to fight in the Navy. Unfortunately for him, of course, Team 1's play of the wreck is closer to the pond, and also looks like he has more mexes than his opponent. But again, there's a lot of mexes in the backline as well for our teams. So just because one player has 2 quad mex positions does not mean that he can't fight back in the mass generation game. But as of right now, we do see that resistance is at 50 mass, almost 50 mass per second, and the wreck's at 60. He's upgrading his mexes as we speak, and I'm expected to see the same thing out of resistance. There are no hydrocarbons in the main bases here, so players have to do the build a couple mexes, build a couple pigeons, build a couple mexes, build a couple pigeons kind of thing. Doesn't change up the build order that much, but it's not one of those you can just set it and forget it. You kind of have to think about it for a split second at a minimum. And of course, these players definitely know what they're doing. No comments about that. No issues with that, of course, as our players continue to skyrocket their egos. We do see that Foley moving in the water. Looks like he wants to build a nice little T1 land facility up here in this upper plateau and invade it. We do see Rayla moving in here unbeknownst to them. We do see that Foley is going to come on screen here pretty shortly. We'll see some calm on count action. Foley will be ahead in the hit point variety game. because, of course, he's facing off against a Cybran who has the lowest amount of hit points. T1 Mechs trying to be built, gets built, and immediately destroyed by Foley. T1 PD going to line the cliff edge. I wouldn't be surprised to see T2 engineers here pretty shortly going for, of course, those PD and artillery. Definitely going to be some artillery wars between the middle and avoiding the middle channel, not channel, but walkway, whatever you want to call this, because it's probably just going to be artillery. There's really no holding this lower section of the map when one player has this and one player has this. Any attempts to grab the middle is essentially going to just be, again, met with PD or artillery or missiles or whatever, so it's not really worth the investment, at least for the time being, unless one player owns mostly both sides of that plateau. But we do see that T1 Naval Tech is online going for those shards attack boats, and also has a frigate online. T1 hover spam outbound from the Aeon player in the west here for Trith, using those Aurora to great effect, trying to get some nice little engagements here in the west. Team 2's Aeon player of Blast Shield probably going to counter with his own here pretty shortly, which he currently is, and some frigates as well, those Beacon class units. I think I'll speed it up just a little bit more. We see some interceptors building up here for Team 2's Chevy Crimson player of Resistance, going after the ones outbound from the Wreck. Wreck has gone for his Cybran facility. We don't see any Navy as of yet here for Team 2 on the eastern pond, but I wouldn't be surprised to see something. It is a small pond, so naval engagements are going to be very, very quick. I don't expect it to be kind of a long, drawn-out engagement unless you build one facility over here and one facility over here and you're fighting one another that way. That's not really going to work. It's going to be vertical. It's going to be north to south. I don't expect to be a huge fight over Navy in terms of western versus eastern ponds, but there might be as the game progresses. We do see a nice little T2 land facility. It is a headquarters, too, very close to the pond, so if Team 2 does claim it, could easily take out the T2 land technology. But, of course, the Naval Tech already online here for Team 1, so he's not really worried about that for the time being. Bombers obviously going after a couple of Mantis on the other side of the pond, kind of just hanging out, preventing some engineers from moving in and building their own facilities. Hopefully everybody is enjoying themselves today in terms of work, in terms of school, in terms of whatever else everybody else is doing, just having a nice day off. Hopefully everybody's enjoying the weather. I know where I'm at, it's very hot. And my car's AC doesn't work as good as I would like it to, so sometimes I get in my car and I just bake alive like a potato. So it's not very fun experience, but luckily I don't have to drive that far for work and around the city, so it's not terrible. It's not great, but it's not bad. So, you know, I come home, air conditioning, cool off, all that stuff. Not really a huge concern there. T2 coming online here for Foley. He has his naval facility online as well. I stated that, I think, a couple minutes ago, and he's moving in, essentially doing the exact same as his mirror. Actually, not actually his mirror, doing the exact same things as the Wreck and claiming the southwestern pond. Again, in these types of 3v3 games, regardless if they're ladder or custom, it's very much a build-up. It's not necessarily attack. It's more of a build-up, more of let's get our mexes, get our upgraded, get our ecos under control, get our T2, T3 technologies online. We're seeing T2 tech already be deployed here by Team 1's Rayla. Again, it is a Cybran on the plateau versus an Aeon on the plateau. The Miasma T2 artillery is going to be deadly, but the missiles outbound from Team 1's Vipers are going to also be deadly from splitting off against those volcanoes. But there are volcanoes here for Team 2, so that's going to nullify a decent amount of those missiles. But we'll see if Team 1 employs the Loyalist T3 assault bot. We do see more Aurora and Blazes start to come out here for Trice forces in the west, trying to use that hover tech to great effect with those pseudo-naval units. More facilities coming online here for the Navy in the middle here for Foley. And that T1 Navy here for the orange player of the Wreck, continuing to hold position. The same strategy coming outbound here from Resistance in the east, going after that frigate. Frigate is going to die, unfortunately. Lots of interceptors here for both of these players. T2 Air has been established by the middle player of Rayla in the north. T3 Air Tech has been established for Foley, which we could see an early strat bomber, which might be a nice change of pace. Mostly it's just the ASF first, but stuff does change things in terms of build orders and all that. Those Blazes moving in, taking out a couple of engineers and units, going after T2 Mechs down here that's about to be fully ringed. Not going to be fully ringed anymore. A couple of PD were built in Blast Shield's base, and unfortunately those Blazes will get some value out of them. Frigate's going to be destroyed by the Blazes, and no Aurora anymore. Looks like Aurora not going to be the main unit. It's just Blazes at this point, with some Ascendant T2 mobile artillery as mobile anti-air artillery, I should say. And of course the Asylum's moving in as well to protect. With all of the T2 hover tech that the Aeon have, it is very, very deadly. As I mentioned in yesterday's cast, I'm always looking for new ideas for campaign levels to do as I do that series here on the channel. And that might be one strategy if I play Aeon, is like if it's a heavy Navy map, I just have to do T2 land tech because it's mainly hover. I mean, you have Ascendants, you have Blazes, you have Asylums, you have Aurora, which are T1, so a lot of hover in there, so I have to build possibly pseudo-Nova units for that fight. But we'll see. Again, I haven't laid out all of the missions and all of the different stuff that I can do, but as everybody sends me comments about, oh, you should do this, or try this, or this, that, the other thing, I'm starting to build a bank, and then I'll have everybody vote whenever before I start that new mission. But a couple Corsairs coming in, taking out the Volcano, it looks like, is what they go after. The wreck was completely destroyed. Not the wreck, but the wreck for the mass. They're going after the base here for Team 2's Foley. Looks like they're going after the P-Gen. They will not kill it off. And reclaiming efforts have been started to avoid any sort of volatile explosions. T2 anti-air flag coming online to deal with those Corsairs. That P-Gen will be destroyed. Oh, it was barely kept alive, with the last Corsair being shot down by an ASF and all the interceptors from Team 2's Resistance. So Team 1 almost had a nice little snipe on the P-Gen, but wasn't able to make it happen. Missile coming outbound here from Rayla, going after some T2 Mechs, but that is killed off by that Volcano. Looks like a couple more Mechs were killed off in the middle here for Team 2 as well. Team 2 dropping a little bit of eco here for Team 1, sitting at 470 versus 430. Not a huge concern, but it does make a difference as, of course, as the game progresses. Those Blazers, those Wagners getting pretty close to a couple of T2 Mechs. There are some Stingers nearby and a couple of Scorcher Team 1 bombers to deal with the incoming threat. It does look like they'll kill off one of those Mechs, but I think all the other Mechs should be fine. With the amount of DPS coming outbound from Resistance to Assist, it should be enough to deal with that Wagner and then that last one remaining. T1 Naval Tech is online. It looks like they have evicted the wreck from his naval facilities. I wouldn't be surprised to see him try to go over here, but there are units outbound for Resistance to move to the west and to the north to deal with any sort of remaining engineers in the area. More facilities are going to be built here by the wreck, trying to reestablish himself. There are T2 naval technology facilities online, and looks like he is producing a destroyer first, and then he'll probably go for a frigate next, so he can start again bombing Team 1 with those missile launcher capable cruisers that are very, very annoying to deal with in this game. Blaze is moving and taking out the remaining naval facilities here for Foley. Foley building up some T1 PD to deal with those Blazes. Blazes will just attack him from range, but those PD are in range, or they have enough range to deal with some of those units, and some now Oblivion T2 PD on the ridgeline to assist with dealing with those Blazes as well. So Team 1 has gained control of the pond in the west. Team 2 has gained control of the pond in the east. Definitely kind of a flip-flop of what you expect to see with how close one side of the map is to one team and one as to the other. It looks like that naval facility was to stop. More shields are going to be built, surprising on the edge, probably to protect the PD investment. We see some T3 bricks online. I don't see any of those loyalists yet. Looks like it's just bricks first. Of course, they have torpedoes on board with the Wagners as well. Looks like that's going to be the avenue of attack here between these two teams, or two players in the east. We're seeing some T1 torp launchers also being established to deal with that oncoming threat. Looks like some T3 Pigeons being built for Blast Shield. Not really a whole lot happening with the backline infrastructure here for Team 2 or Team 1. It's only 16 minutes on the clock, so I don't see a lot of efforts to go for, Colossus Experimentals. Kind of still waiting for the massive amounts of income to come in. Team 1's at 600, almost. Team 2 at 550. A little bit favoring Team 1, but Team 2 can catch up here pretty quickly. It's all about how fast can they get the upgrades, or how fast or how much can they deny mass for their opponents is really what the two strategies are going to be. Engineers being destroyed by those torpedoes, them trying to build those torpedo launches to deal with the incoming units. We see a lot of Riptides that kind of just hovering there, kind of hanging out. You know, they can't be targeted by those units on the bottom of the ocean, or pond, but those units can't also, you know, they can't target them and they can't target them. It's kind of one of those, you know, just can't really do anything. It's like a null and void. Naval facility re-destroyed or destroyed once again here for Team 2. Team 2 not allowing Team 1 to get any sort of advantage or any sort of presence in Navy once again. But more and more bricks being used to deal with that Valiant class destroyer. It does have torpedoes and torp defense on board. Problem is that those bricks also have torpedo defense, and the Wagners don't have torpedo defense, but they do have a lot of torpedoes because there's just a lot of them. Destroyer trying to shell these positions as well. Cruiser is on line from Team 2's resistance. Again, TMD has been built immediately by the wreck in preparation for said cruiser because he knew, of course, that the UEF have the missile launcher capable, and there's also some Team D over here and more of them expanding out. Love to see him know his opponent's advantage and is countering it immediately, making that unit null and void. And he's probably the resistance is probably thinking that he should have just built some of those more destroyers. It looks like he's going for Coopers now, some T2 torp boats to deal with all the units on the sea or pond or lake floor, whatever body of water you want to call it, floor. See a lot of T3 units and T2 as well. Moving on the western side here for Team 2's Blast Shield, decent amount of Harbingers as well as some Redeemers and Asylums. Building up a nice force. We do see a naval facility has been started for Team 1, but it looks like the engineers have kind of just noped out of that situation for the time being. Blazes moving in to intercept the reinforcements outbound from Blast Shield, but with T3 units on the field firsting off against bricks, being gifted over by one of the two players on Team 1. Either gifted over or given the facility to build his own. Looks like possibly been gifted over. I don't see him building his own at this current stage, but with the bricks online, that should be enough to at least hold off Team 2's Blast Shield for the time being. They are pushing in. Of course, more and more units are coming on station, as well as some Restorers and Spectre T2 gunships online. There is some AA in the area, but there's not a lot. The Restorer is not known for their air-to-ground weapons, but the Spectres are definitely known for theirs, and they're going to take out those T2 and T3 AA very, very quickly here. That's what they're targeting. Deal with those units first and then take out the stuff that can't shoot back out of them, like shooting fish in a barrel. Very one-sided in that regard. Lots of riptides. I was thinking blazes or something, but lots of riptides in the water. But unfortunately, the bricks have moved out of the water, and now on the eastern side, the riptides don't really have the range that the bricks do, and the bricks, of course, can't be targeted when they're underneath the surface of the water, so it's kind of a null and void kind of situation. Torpedoes trying to take out those bricks, but it's just not enough firepower. They need more direct weapons, that being destroyers, cruisers, if they can manage it, just something else. We see a bulwark shield boat coming online as well to defend. Looks like the shield's already been taken out, but it's recharging as we speak. And those riptides trying to do what they can, getting into the mix of all those units. They take out the rest of the land units, but those bricks make it underneath the surface, and more and more coming into play here for Team 1's the wreck. Using his unit abilities very, very effectively here, dealing with Team 2's Navy. I mean, he knows his opponent's advantages, so then counters them with his own, which being his blazes. Not blazes, his zappers. Then using his bricks to deal with the T2 and T1 Navy in the south. Love to see that from the wreck. Again, he's a 2200. Obviously, one of the instances of why he's a 2200. He's really, really good at this game. We see some Torp bombers coming in here from Resistance, but we do see some ASF and Interceptors online for the wreck as well to counter those very, very quickly. So he has his own air to respond to threats from the air. We do see more gunships being built here by Trite in the west. That's going to be his main mode of damage. We do see a couple of Harbingers and some blazes and stuff, but it's mainly just gunships with some ASFs. Everybody on Team 1 has a T3 air headquarters. All of them have it. Each of them can build their own response to air. Love to see that, especially in a high rated game where you need to have access to everything as quickly as possible, at least everything that you can in terms of land, sea, and air tech. T3, of course, is not online for everybody yet for Team 2. We do see T2 online here for Resistance, but he's only going for Torp bombers, so it's not really that much of an issue. He only goes for that. We do see his comm on the front line with gun and T2. Looks like he's trying to come and respond to these blazes sorry, Blazes. Bricks himself building some PD on the shoreline to assist. Bricks will move in, trying to just go hop between land and sea to avoid the torpedoes and some shots from the PD and Resistance's comm. And that missile launcher on board the cruiser isn't really going anywhere. There's a lot of TMD built. That's not going to go anywhere. It needs a lot more than that. He only has one T2, actually has two T2 naval facilities. There we go. Is pumping out more and more of the destroyers. It's definitely the better play. Of course, his cruisers have been nullified for the time being. So it's kind of pointless to go for more and more cruisers, which, of course, cruisers can deny the air, but then he has to deal with the blaze. I want to call them blazes for some reason, but they are not. They are bricks. In the west, the lineup of the army is continuing to commence. There's a lot of AA being added in this mix as well, which means those gunships can't move in as easily as they could earlier. But PD is being built to entice those units to move in, which might entice the gunships to move in and deal with them as well. But those harbingers probably have that handled, and they do have that handled relatively quickly. T2 Navy also online here for Blast Shield in the west. Looks like air fight did commence here between Team 1 and Team 2. Team 2's main ASF force of Foley takes out that of the wreck, but there are more ASFs moving in. The interceptors here from Resistance get chewed up very, very quickly, and the ASF remaining forces from Team 1 are moving in and conglomerating. ASFs here from Blast Shield are moving in on just kind of a movement order, thinking that the air fight does commence. Looks like Trith moves out of range. We do see that Foley tries to move in and group up more T2, T3 air AA tech being built as well. Those ASFs are going to be chewed up very, very quickly. And unfortunately, they're not being given move orders for the time being, which means they will be lost. Well, some of them at least will be lost to the annals of history. We do see that Resistance again in the water dealing with those bricks, just being very, very annoying here for him. He's lost one facility, of course, and a decent amount of boats just from the bricks themselves. Bricks, very annoying to deal with. They're very versatile. And the fact that, of course, that they can be very annoying on land, in and sea is just, it's annoying. Very, very annoying. It's really limiting the advantage of Resistance having the Navy. I mean, he's pumping out destroyers, a lot of them. He's not pumping out the cruisers. He has a couple of them, but we even see more bricks coming out bound from Rayla from the west, dealing with those cruisers. So it's just being attacked from two fronts here is not really great here on the eastern side. Fully says give. Talking about the ASFs, I'm assuming that's what it looks like. Looks like the ASFs catch Team 2's unawares here. Outbound from Rayla. Great engagement here by Team 1. Essentially might even have the same engagement as they fall back. And we see that the units in the west here from Blast Shield get destroyed by the gunships. A lot of them looks like they either fell back or were destroyed. It looks like a lot of them were destroyed, but the land army was destroyed nonetheless, which of course will only be the advantage here for Team 1. Lots of PD were built as well on the shoreline and further inland. A couple of T2 boats also online, some cruisers, further AA presence. That probably would help dealing with the gunships earlier, but those PD are destroyed. And again, that attack force outbound from Team 1 not really going anywhere for the time being. Still, the battle rages on in the Navy in the east. More and more cruisers are being built. The torpedoes from the bricks being dealt with by multiple Valiant-class destroyers as well. Now we're seeing T2 artillery tech being targeted or being focused on the T2 naval headquarters here for Resistance to deal with, of course, the pressure from the Navy. Again, not really a lot of air. We've seen a couple of air fights so far, but not really a huge focus on air. There's essentially air for everybody, which means there's no focus on air for anybody. But again, everybody has some sort of air. T2 still the main tech here for Resistance, and of course air grid being expanded out for both Foley and Blast Shield. And with that, at 25 minutes on the clock, let's take a look at the game overall. Team 1 and Team 2 have not lost a player as of yet. Team 1 and Team 2 also sitting roughly about the same amount of mass income, 1.1, 1.2 mass, 1,000 mass per second. Standouts being Blast Shield at 500 mass income, and Rayla and the Wreck at 400, and anybody else below that. And at this point in the game, let me know down in the comments who you think is going to currently win it. And of course, if you haven't done so already, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and thank you so very much for watching. I really do appreciate it. Let's take a look at these harbingers moving in on the west. We do see Trith using Blast Shield's method of going around the western side of the map. Just punching his way forward. There are a couple of units, of course, hovering through the middle, There's a decent amount of cruisers, not a lot of destroyers in here. It looks like he's going to build some here pretty shortly. I wouldn't imagine him not to do that to deal with the incoming threat from those on the western side. IFGC says Trith, and it looks like he does. It is online. He's going to send that forward. And he's probably going to send it in the water to the main base for Blast Chill. That's going to be very devastating for him and might actually result in the first kill of the game if Blast Chill doesn't counter it soon. What do you see again? Those bricks still using that method of just hopping back and forth between land and sea and land and sea. It's very annoying for resistance. He's sitting with his commander, essentially doing the exact same thing, but really pushing that much. He knows he's going to be out DPS'd by all the bricks being built up by Team 1's the wreck, so he's trying to be very careful how far he pushes in. The bricks fall back. He pushes in. He does the same thing. And again, it's like a cat and mouse over here. Lots and lots of torpedo launches being built. Team 1 and T2 now being deployed to deal with all of these bricks, just constantly throwing torpedoes. We have a T2 Storks above, a couple of them veteran seats. Some of them will get shot down right there. As I say, something that does get shot down. We do see some more destroyers, but that one gets destroyed. There's a joke there somewhere going after that Gunther. There's a decent amount of missile spam outbound from the cruisers. There's not as much TMD, which means some of the TMD does get through. It looked like that Scorcher was shot down by that missile that came in. I think that's what I saw. I don't see any AA in the mix, so that, I mean, there were some ASFs right here, but I don't know if they were really lined up to shoot that. More and more Wagners, more and more bricks in the water. It's just very devastating here for Team 2. He has the Navy. He just cannot make as much as he wants to make out of it. It's essentially he might just want to cut his losses, but even if he does, he doesn't really have units that are able to throw torpedoes at his opponent like the wreck does. And that's just due to the fact that UEF is mainly designed for land engagements in terms of land v land or Navy v Navy, not necessarily land v Navy, which is the case here from all of these bricks. From Team 1's the wreck, just throwing missiles on the shoreline, or actually on the shoreline, on the facilities. I like how there's just long, long legs to build those naval facilities. There is the same kind of thing, except there are more pillars than legs. Looks like that naval facility will be established here pretty shortly by Team 1's the wreck here shortly. Missiles coming in constantly. The facility does get built, but how long does it last is the question. Because even if he builds it, he's going to upgrade the T2, so it's going to be a minute before it really goes anywhere. And in the west, that Colossus has reached the water, get his feet wet, and there are some more bricks down here. Engineers on the top of the water, they're reclaiming the bricks down there. We do see a couple of Vespers as well as that nice Exodus coming in. Those engineers will be destroyed. And more cruisers coming in from the east as well to assist. Not a lot of attack power on these in terms of ship v ship or ship v land units. But again, something is better than nothing. More torp launchers being built to deal with the oncoming threat of that Galactic Colossus, and all of the Harmagers moving westward to deal with the column of Harmagers outbound here from Trith. Trith has a lot of ASF under his control. Looks like all of the ASF for Team 1 bar, a couple of them from the wreck. That Colossus is going to make its way to land. There's not going to be enough time for Team 2 to deal with it. And looks like the Harmagers, again, still building up here. Team 2 is retreating his own, just so that he can intercept that Colossus. Colossus is going to continue to move in, and I'm assuming that Trith will send his forces in immediately. Blast Shield is nearby, building a ton of PD. Unfortunately here, because he's on a little hill here, shots down are not going to be that great. Colossus emerges from the water, and he immediately is set upon by those plasma turrets, plasma PD. Lots of shield combatant presets, a lot being 2 of them, and Spectre gunships on the field. Lots of them build up very, very quickly here. Drops that Colossus quite quickly, and there he goes. Team 1 and T2 PD ASFs move in to deal with the gunships, but it is too late. That Colossus is destroyed, and ASF fight does commence. Team 1 has the huge advantage. I don't have to look at numbers for that. You can just tell by the number of triangles on screen. And we see those Harmagers moving in from the west as well to distract, but it doesn't matter. Team 1 has air control. A lot of just spreading out of ASFs, kind of letting them run rampant without just kind of spinning them in circles, which is the normal strategy. Team 1 has air control, if not dominance. I would assume dominance at this point. And Blast Shield builds his own experimental at the end of the engagement. We do see those SACUs being used to great effect to deal with those remaining Harbinger units. So a decent amount of mastery for Blast Shield to scoop up. And also, of course, the air fight happened in his base. He has even more wrecks to scoop up, sitting at 80 something thousand on screen. Let's see if I can zoom in. That's as far as we get. 71,000 on screen. Definitely enough mass to build a couple more of those walking Cyclops laser nonsense. Air grid being expanded out for these two players in the east. Still not T3 air tech, but focusing on the Navy. Lots and lots of more units have been built. Decent amount of bulwarks, as well as, of course, some cruisers and a couple of destroyers. Not much, but there is a crab poking its head out of the water, dealing with those defenses very, very quickly here. That long range proving to great effect, as well as the brick wall moving on the edge of the land as well, forming its nice little wall sections it likes to make, forcing back the remaining units from resistance. And that naval facility was a great attempt, but I don't think it's going to go anywhere. The hordes of TMD that have been built, he probably could have taken it out if it was being, as it was being built. The Team 1 was able to protect it enough, and now he's dealing with Salem destroyers. And with that amount of pressure with the crab, the bricks, and the Salems, it's going to be it for this base. Resistance knows it's cutting his losses, moving his units to the west to get out of range, but it does not matter. You do see a Fat Boy has been started, but that crab's going to run that over really quickly if it continues to move in. But a Colossus inbound here from Foley might just be enough to at least save some of these structures. Not all of it. There's a lot of bricks here. Of course, the Salems as well be able to use their artillery, and that's not going to go well for him. We do see a bug has been at least thought about started here for Team 1's Rayla. Huge air grid for Trite, and of course decent air grid here for them as well. And a small air grid. It's not bad. It's definitely something. It's better than nothing. And another crab has been built by the wreck, and he's now secured the beachhead. Colossus moving in, hasn't even targeted with his laser yet, and is already in the yellow. Percy's mobile PD essentially moving in to deal with the rest of those bricks, but it's not going to be enough. The Colossus will die. The Megalith is already at 1 star of efficiency, so a decent amount of hit points on board that unit already, and it's not going to matter at this point. Colossus is going to die. No ifs and buts about that. We do see some torp launchers sitting here. Probably should just target the Megalith at this point, do some damage, but there's so many units in the water, it doesn't even matter. Colossus is DED. We need a Mavor or something, says Resistance. I mean, he can start building a Mavor. Why not? SMD is being built. 32 minutes on the clock. ASF's coming in here from Trite to try to airlock Team 1. Resistance is killed off by Rayla. Looks like he went after some... Hold on. He was sitting here. There's nothing near him. That either means it was bombers that came in that Team 2 didn't notice, or it was missiles or something. I don't see... Oh, nope. Yep, they were missiles. And they were missiles outbound from Rayla. Nice snipe here by Team 1. Apologies for not seeing it. You see another missile land over there. But that was a... Why would you ruin that game, you clown? There's Resistance. Oh, why? Nope, doesn't mean to go up. Did not mean to push that button. Don't really know what that's going on. But anyway, it's now a 3v2 at 33 minutes on the clock, which means everybody made it past 30 minutes. Definitely a rare thing in this game. I saw an opportunity. I mean, you got to take it while you have it, right? It's the whole thing about opportunities. It's you got to seize the opportunity in the lifetime of said opportunity. But a couple of missiles outbound from Team 1's Rayla was enough to kill off the comm. That's got to hurt. Oh, even the wreck saying that. I mean, I don't know. I don't disagree with that. I don't disagree with that for Rayla. It's like, look, it's 33 minutes. It was a great opportunity. I could also strat him. I mean, yeah, that's true. I don't really know if there's like an honor thing that was agreed upon beforehand. I obviously don't know conversations like that. Don't snipe people. That feels like that's more of a thing that was talked about beforehand. Sniping happens all the time in Forged Alliance Forever. Like, I don't know why that's a thing. But anyway, try messaging Blast Shield and Foley. So the other players on... So a player on Team 1's messaging players on Team 2 saying, get in the water. I don't believe in that philosophy. Then you get kicked. I don't agree with that from the wreck. Again, if there was an honor thing beforehand that everyone's like, look, we're not going to do snipes. We're going to play it, just not do that. That's one thing and then going back on it. It's the second thing to not have that agreement and then be like, well, no, we should not have snipes. Like, well, we didn't agree to that beforehand, and that's part of the game. So I don't know. I just feel like, again, the whole, if there was an agreement, then yeah, Rayla shouldn't have done that. But if there wasn't an agreement, then yeah, Rayla can fully do that. It's perfectly fine. So again, let me know down in the comments if you agree with the Rex opinion or Rayla's opinion. Again, you know my stance. If there's an agreement, then no, I don't agree with it. But if there wasn't, then yes, it is a thing you can do in the game, so why not? Restorers in the west going after the land army from Blast Shield 2nd. Colossus has been constructed, and he's also using his SACUs on the front line. The ASF moving in, going to kill off the oh, no, not going to kill off the ASF. But of course now the Restorers going after those cruisers. Cruisers really doing some numbers on the ASFs, the Restorers, but all the cruisers are dead. More and more of them are being built. I thought there was a factory over here that was producing them, but no, they were just sitting over there. And those Colossus, I mean, even though they're Restorers, 1,000 of anything will kill anything. So you got to get their heads underneath the surface to protect themselves. And the Restorers sitting at range as much as they can, trying to snipe at those Restorers. Do love that play, not really trying to engage, right underneath them. But unfortunately now with that bug online here from, it was from Rayla, but now under control of Trite, that is going to rip apart everything in the water here for Team 2. Team 2 is going to be knocked out of Navy on both sides of the map. Colossus comes out of the water, comes out of somewhere, kills off that crab in the east for Team 1, but this will be killed off as well here. That doesn't go anywhere here for Team 2, unfortunately. It staves off some of the momentum, but it's still going to come in, especially with these Salems moving on to land as well. Fully doing what he can to hold off that pressure in the east, building more Colossi as we speak. Duke has been started. I feel like that idea of a Maver from Resistance might be a good idea from somebody, or some sort of game ender, regardless if it's a Maver or at this point on Team 2, a Paragon. In the north, Trite in the water going for a RAS upgrade. More expansions of the air grid here for both him and Rayla. And not really anything big. More crabs being constructed here by the wreck in the east. And that's really about it. We see just fire-based artillery wars between the two plateaus, which I kind of figured would happen anyways just because of the nature of the thing. But it looks like Team 1 has a little bit of an advantage in that regard, being there closer to their edge versus Team 2 being not as close to their edge. ASF sitting on the surface, or the land, not really the best idea. Restorers and ASFs will fall back. Actually, where did the Restorers go? They were there a second ago, and then they done disappeared. They all just get engulfed by the... No, they're not there. Looks like in my moment of being distracted by what else is going on, looks like they were all destroyed. We do see those strap bombers that have been built up, mentioned by Rayla earlier on. That's kind of deadly to have, just in their back pocket. Rayla is essentially the arms dealer here for Team 1's Trite, essentially building something and then handing it over. Not Sugar Daddy, not or Sugar Mommy, depending on... Rayla definitely sounds like a woman's name. Again, I'm not 100% sure about that. I kind of flip between he, she, they, that kind of thing. I don't really know. I'm assuming yes, but I could also be wrong about that, especially in today's day and age. But anyway. Just essentially gifting it over to Trite, which again, Trite is the main air player, so it does make sense that he would control everything in the air besides Rayla's strats that they're building up, which is now building more of them. That's kind of deadly to look at. Team 2, again, just building more cruisers and more cruisers and more cruisers. Has lost a lot, but reclaiming and going to rebuild them definitely is the plan there. In the east, Crab moving in, assisted by another Crab going after a Colossus. Looks like that Crab's going that way because there's a Colossus coming in from the east. Love that flanking maneuver. Unfortunately, there were some bricks surrounding it, and it was spotted. Definitely unfortunate. Looks like the Colossus doesn't care about the Crab and is going for the more annoying... maybe they are slower, but probably the better value out of them Salems, because they are naval units and they're more annoying to deal with, and you got to build them and then walk them, and then it's a pain. Getting lots of value out of that. Restorers from Team 2 is fully dealing with the Colossus as well. This one destroyed by Team 1, the wreck as well. So both of those experiments get destroyed quite quickly, and the ASF from Team 1 come in and annihilate those Restorers from Team 2. Team 1 has air control, air dominance, even if you count the ones from Team 2's fully and Blast Shield. I still give it to Team 1 Strike. Actually, fully now, because this would just transfer over. There are 102 of them, which means in total 102, 184. Looks like he's getting all of his. I guess they're both Aeons, so that makes sense. And 9 restorers remaining. Team 1 Strike, though, sitting at, I would say, at least 250. No, I'd be wrong. 115 Coronas, but he's also sitting at 97 Geminis. So, yeah, 200. Hey, he has some Mercies. Where are those at? Where are those Mercies at? They're sitting over here. Hey, hey, hey! I don't really see these nowadays. Love to see these units. I definitely miss the Mercy Snipes from Days Gone, or Days Gone By. Is it Days Gone By? I think that's the phrase. Anyway, I do miss them. But you know, I don't know. It's one of those, you could counter Mercies very quickly, but at the same time, it's also one of those you could build Mercies very quickly and kill off a comm very quickly as well. Percy's engaged. I'm looking at Percy's and thinking Mercy. And Bricks just engaged the Percy's, but 3 crabs on the eastern side of the map here for Team 1. I mean, it's really pressing on Team 2's infrastructure in the back. Artillery was just completed now as I'm speaking, and it'll start searching out for targets. I think Team 1 knows about it. Let's see if they know about it. Do they know? They do know about it, so they do see the icon, and if they don't know about it now, they do know with the spy planes moving over top from the wreck. The ASF sitting to protect the land investment here for Team 1, which means the air is open to attack in the west here from Team 2, but I mean, there's a large land army over here, multiple Colossus. They're just sitting here for defenses. Artillery says Triath question mark. And we see some gunships moving in as well as Colossi intercepting. Looks like 1 Salem remains. There are more coming in all the time. Another crab has been built here by the wreck. Looks like he's going to win by crabs. Rayla moving, of course, gifting over those gunships over to Triath. And some Bricks moving in here. Looks like he'll probably give those over to the wreck as well. Looks, again, like I said, Rayla's being a very good assist player. You know, like, hey, let me build those gunships for you. And hey, let me build some more bricks for you. And hey, let me do a bunch of stuff for you. And then, you know, I'll manage my eco. And so everybody on Team 1 sitting at 600 plus mass income. Team 2 sitting at 900, 800, almost 1,000 for Blast Shield. And that's even with fully sitting at dual bases. Restorers move in, going after the Soul Rippers and the Megaliths. Team 2 trying to entice the ASS from Team 1 to engage a little bit better side of the map, get more AA underneath those gunships and those ASFs. It looks like the gunships and the ASFs from Team 1 are not going to be fooled by it. A lot of attention is being focused down on this side of the map. First sensor package apparently built in 5 seconds by Blast Shield. Those Salems are going to move in first. Definitely the less valuable unit in terms of, you know, the crab and the bricks and all that. Looks like there's more bricks on the eastern side here. Kind of interested to see them not be gifted over to the wreck, but hey, it works. Lots of AA moving in from the Restorers, dealing with one of the Rippers here from Team 1, and there goes another air fight here. This could be the way that Team 2 comes back in this game, is taking out the air supremacy. Those ASFs are distracted by the gunships, and it is nonsense. It is crazy nonsense going on here between those 2 air players. They're not doing the traditional kind of spin and circles kind of move. They're just letting everything rip and just kind of everything play out. Strat bombers are inbound, going after the FAF point, I would surmise, or they're going after, no, they're going after the artillery that's under 1 shield coverage. They are being shot down, but more of them are making it through. There they go, dropping bombs. 1 shield is not going to be enough. There it goes. It was able to edge out the pigeons, and that was a great snipe here by Rayla, not allowing any sort of artillery to be built by Team 2. The ASF fight goes in favor of Team 1, and more ASF gifted over from Rayla to Foley as well. Don't know why the Zazar going to be built, because that's going to be annihilated immediately, and it does look like Team 2's Foley control Ks, seeing that the game is nearing its end, at least in his view, with the SMD being the only thing that wasn't gifted over for some reason. And it's still, there it goes. It's like, how long is it going to stay? Yeah, it's your time now, says Foley. Push me, blast, says Triath. Looks like somebody's trying to encourage Blast Shield in moving into Triath's position. Again, the ASF are over here. The only thing you would have to engage is the horde of PD engineers, some engineers here. Lots of harbingers, couple of blazes, and 4 colossi. Just, you know, not necessarily a tall order, but a decent amount. Decent amount of SACUs in the water, though. That's not going to deal with that threat in there. Looks like Crab's holding position, moving forward to grab the reclaim. And that is a lot of numbers on my screen. That's a lot. That's a lot to look at. Sitting at 370,000 mass on the map. 350,000 of it on screen. Essentially, all of the mass in the game is on this southeastern section of the map. Team 1 definitely wants to prevent Team 2 from grabbing that. Colossus does get killed off, and it looks like it's not going good here for Team 2 on this eastern side. Zara is still being built, even though the Team 1 has air dominance. Don't know why they're doing that, but that is a thing. Fat Boy also being built here by Blastold. I think he's trying to spend as much mass as he can. He is doing a great job of doing that. Also is low on power. That's going to be great for his mass income. Crabs are moving in from the east. 44 minutes on the clock. It's not looking good. 1 donut has been constructed. Actually, excuse me, 2 more on the way. I didn't even notice how many donuts were being built. That is a lot. Sir, that is a lot of donuts. You do not own the air. Why are you building donuts? 2nd donut has been constructed. 3rd one is in the yellow over half dome. Crabs moving in. Just trying to essentially fan out a little bit. They're not glump. That's a really weird word. Clump together. Man. I have glump stuck in my throat for some reason. I can spend mass as strength. Oh, can you? Can you spend mass? Yeah, apparently he can spend mass for some reason. Don't know what that's in reference to, but Crabs just moving in. It's not looking good here for Team 2. Just the attack from the skies. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 Crabs with a bunch of bricks and Salem support. Because why the heck not? And they are just bombarding Team 2's middle base that once belonged to Foley. There go the Zars. ASF sitting here, but those Zars are going to be ripped apart very, very quickly by the incoming ASFs. 2 lasers are activated. ASF's just moving in, a lot of them taking a ton of damage from the laser. And it's hard to tell which Zar is fine. Looks like, again, when they're doom stacked like this, it's hard to tell who is who. But 1 donut falls, the other one about to fall there shortly after. The Crab will still be fine, sitting at 3-star veterancy, loses 7,000 hit points per crash. Or 7 or 8,000, one of the two. And there goes the orange, just creamsicle invasion from the east. And at this point, it's not really looking good here for Team 2. Colossus moving in, trying to make a stalwart defense. But again, when you have 6v1 in terms of Crabs, plus Salem support, plus ASF support, plus Soul Ripper support, plus Brick support versus, and Strap Bomber support taking out SMDs. Does Team 1 have a nuke? Or they just wanted to take it out just cuz? Oh, nope, they have a nuke. Look at that. Nuke is already loaded and halfway loaded to another one. This game is not going well here for Team 2. And I don't think Team 2 is long for this world. Blast Shield, where is your comm? Looks like he's sending everything he has on land to the west. Lots of T1 spam. Actually, a lot of T3 spam. And Nuke is outbound going after this base. SMD has been built and is loaded, so that nuke will fail. And definitely a good idea going after this place because this one's already been taken out by the Crabs, but it's just really long for this world, this side of the map, unfortunately, here for Team 2. Here comes the nuke sailing in, and the fight in the west does commence. Multiple Colossus sitting on the cliff edge over there, going after the Colossus down here. A couple of SACUs trying to do what they can. Some of them are being destroyed in that AoE explosion, causing other cascading effects. Team 2 has been feeling the pain this game, and it has not felt great. This Colossus will get taken out, and this one shortly after. That's all of Team 2's Colossi. Tons of cruisers in the water, but unfortunately did not go for T3 naval technology. Could have gone for missile ships, could have gone for Omens. Spectres moving in, just going to get eviscerated by that AA presence. Some of the cruisers might get killed off, but that's a lot of AA. That is a lot of AA. And how are those Crabs moving in? Well, again, they're fanning out still. Looks like he's trying to space them out. 2nd donut has been built once more. More SACUs are dying. Base up here is being destroyed. Bricks actually landed up here to assist with that. That's also not long for this world. And looks like the ASF's still, decent pressure here considering I don't think I see more ASFs from Team 1, but they have a nuke, they have strap bombers, they have the game won. essentially they're playing with their food at this point. Portal's trying to gain in more SACUs for Eco. But it looks like the AA as well as the remaining ASFs from Team 1 are able to deal with one, and the second Megalith, second with Donut. And there it goes, just the cascade effect has started to emerge here for those P-Gens and the SACUs here from Team 1. Splash Shield, 47 minutes and 49 seconds on the clock. His attack to the north did not work out. Colossi moving in underneath the surface of the water. And it's not looking good here, folks, for Team 2. I've mentioned that for the past couple of minutes. And there goes the cascade. It's not looking good. Couple more shots is going to do just devastating amounts of damage. SMD should definitely be targeted. That nuke from Rayla should be built by now, and it is. It is launching its nuke, I think, as we speak. And that air grid has been destroyed. Nuke actually is going to land here pretty shortly. We should hear the announcement of the channel name. Nope, it's not. Oh, oh. Well, it's not opening the main, the silo. It's, even though it, huh. The nuke symbol is here, but it's not firing for some reason, which is very strange. But that's the air grid here for Team 2's Blast Shield. That's it. That's all he has. His comm sitting down here. Strat Bomber is running around the bottom of the map, and Control Ks are out. Team 2's Rayla teleports right in on top of him. And that is going to be game, folks, with Team 1 winning the game with all players remaining. I feel like, I mean, everyone did a good job. I think the wreck definitely showed the benefit of knowing, okay, my opponent is UEF. UEF are known for their cruiser missiles. Let's counter those immediately. Built Team D even before the cruisers were built. He used his bricks and his Wagners very effectively in dealing with any sort of Navy pressure that Team 2's resistance was trying to mount, and essentially locked him into Navy. And it was just a slow demise from then. Once resistance fell, then it was just a walk all the way south. A little bit of resistance from Foley. He Control K'd, gifted everything over to Blast Shield, and it was just a clean sweep after that. So I think the Wreck deserves the MVP here for this game. Let me know down in the comments if you agree with that or not, and whether or not you agree with the whole snipe versus no snipe disagreement that the Wreck and Rayla had earlier on in the game. But thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate all the time and attention you gave to this channel and this video and the videos in general. Thank you so very much for watching to the end of the video. And of course, share this video with anyone, everyone, especially your pets, and I'll see all of you in the next one.